Did you ever gaze at a photograph and want to make it your own? If that's been the case, then this video is for you. Hi guys, I am Dhritikana Nath, an artist, instructor, mother, brand owner of Vibrant Parcels, where we manufacture handmade sketchbook, artist grade paints, and much more. Today's video is all about painting three different and beautiful lighthouses. Each of these lighthouses is going to be from a real photograph that I have downloaded from Pixels, which is a website from where you can go ahead and download photos, as well as they are royalty free photos. You can always go around the city and paint whatever you want, but sometimes it's also great to do a studio practice, though I would not say that it is the best way to go about painting from a photo. But whatever is available as a resource to you can always be used for your paintings. So just go ahead and let's start with our first painting. This is going to be our first painting where you are going to go ahead with a wet on wet sky. If you are going with wet on dry sky, what happens is that your color might be a bit more darker than what we have achieved in our painting. That's absolutely okay. You can decide what you would like to do. For me, I have kept it wet on wet. My paper size is pretty small. The whole of the paper size is around A5, and I would be covering two paintings within that A5 size. I would leave that decision particularly up to you. Believe me, it all depends how you want to go ahead and use your paper. For me, I try to use smaller sizes to experiment, like this one, where I did experiment with my watercolor painting and understood how I can actually paint this lighthouse on a bigger sheet of paper. We will do that series sometime very soon, where we convert a smaller painting into a larger one, and how you can flawlessly work on a larger sheet of paper without any kind of fear. Let's go ahead and start out with our top part of the sky. You can see I have placed my subject towards the left bottom corner. That's how I like to always use my subjects. Either it is on the bottom left, or it is on the bottom right, or towards the top area. I do not want to go ahead and place it in the middle of the painting, though there has been many cases where we have seen that you can produce beautiful outcome even in the middle part of the painting. But I am a true believer that I go by the rule of thirds, where you can divide your paper into 9 equal halves and focus on the intersecting points. You can also do that by yourself and see how you can get to those intersection points that I am speaking about. There have been a lot of videos, and I have also produced videos earlier where we have worked with thumbnail sketch, etc. You can go ahead and check out that video for this painting. I am just adding these colors towards the sky, and now is the time where we are going to clean up the area of our tower. Now, tower is majorly all the area that is covered by the lighthouse. Lighthouse is one of the most easy paintings that I would say, but initially when we start out, we are so skeptical about even trying out this kind of a lighthouse. And that's where I want to tell you there is no need to be scared of any subject. Any subject that you want to attempt can be done from a photograph. A photograph is a great reference. You can always make any photograph your own by changing the colors, by changing the style of painting, and adding lot more values, colors, vibrancy, etc. into the painting. Every time you do not need to copy a photograph, which you see over here, you can go ahead and even just use simple aspects of a photo, like we have just used the structure and we have used it on the left side rather than using it in the middle. So this is a basic change that I have done. Whether it would be a good outcome or not, I have not thought about it, and I go with a very positive mindset or an very positive outcome that I have in my mind when I start with a painting, which is very, very important for any watercolor artist. Every watercolor artist, if you think positively, you can have a very positive outcome of your final painting. And do not rush through the process of painting. This is what I have understood. If you continue to rush through your process of painting, you may end up with very loose or not so great outcome which you would have preferred. You will not get the beautiful edges like the water over here which we have. I have also added the colors of the sky into the water, which you can see, but all these smaller details you can't keep in your mind and continue to work on it. Let it dry completely, the sky area, and then only go ahead with your water. Once I have added the colors on the water, you can see I'm not touching the middle part because that is basically the compound wall which I want to showcase, and that I would be doing later on. You can park many of your work later on, and there is no particular rule that, or you may not even go by the rule book where you have to start from the top and only go till the bottom. You can go ahead with any part which you want. I always go from the top to the bottom. That's how I like to do it. But whatever works best for you, use that method. There are many kind of artists and painters who do not follow the rule book, and they have broken many rules of painting and achieved great outcome. Now I'm going ahead and adding the darkest value of green towards some of the parts where basically it is in and around the pathway that you see. I can add more darker values or leave it at this stage for the pathway. Again, it is wet on dry kind of method, but my paper is still wet, so there will be a few of the lines which may move a bit. That's okay. Do not worry. I do not worry, when I paint. That's something which I have actually kept aside for each painting of mine. What would maximum happen? I will not be in a position to have a great outcome on this page. I will use the back side of this page to have another painting or to draw another painting. It's not that need to have a great outcome for every painting of mine. That's not that I will do masterpieces every day. Yes, no one can do that, and it's absolutely okay to accept that feeling and move on. By the way, I am going ahead and adding some of my beautiful quinacridone, or you can. This is actually opera, but you can also go ahead with the quinacridone color. That's also something similar to the one which I have got. I have mixed a bit of opera with my orange to get a shade like this one, and now adding the darkest value and blending it so that the left side is more darker and the right side is lighter. This is what usually happens in a sunrise, sunset kind of a painting. Where you have the light, that particular side has to be lighter in value, and the other side would be darker in value. This particular painting is really small, because of which it is a bit of difficulty for me to play with the values a lot over here. I definitely want to convert it into a bigger painting, and that's what we will be doing sometime in our future. Let's go ahead and add some of the darkest value to add some more of our depth. Now, light and shadow is something that I always like to go ahead and play with. It's not that there is a lot of opportunity with which we can play with light and shadow in this painting, but that's absolutely okay. You do not need to always play a lot with light and shadow. You can play lesser with light and shadows too. I will go ahead and add some of the lines in some of the spaces where I think it's important, as there are staircases, etc., or some kind of a structure that I observe in the painting. It's pretty dark, so I really can't observe a lot over here. But whatever I observe, this is how the painting is. Going ahead and adding some of the lines as we want, and then adding the brown color towards the compound wall. Some of the areas can be darker, some of the areas can be lighter, though I have kept it this way because the bottom area where I've added the green, I have made it more darker. There is some more amount of light and shadow play which we would be doing, and then adding some lines for the tower area. I will use my thinnest brush now for any further darker values which I'm going to add in this painting, and continue to add some more of lines, some more dots. You can also go ahead and add some white dots or lines here and there just to highlight a few spaces. I would also leave that decision up to you, though I have used the darkest value to show the darker and the lighter values, the contrasting values, etc. I'm going ahead and removing the masking fluid in three of the spaces where I did add it, and then we'll go ahead and add some amount of yellow over there. I've added some water and then I'm going ahead with the yellow. The middle part is absolutely bright, the white, which I need for the light, and then going with some of my darkest value of brown to add a few lines here and there. Make sure that this part is dry enough before you go ahead and add any lines. Some more details, and then we are done with this part of the painting. We will go ahead and move to the next painting. The next painting is going to be very loose, and that's one of the reason I am removing my tape at an angle and leaving it to completely dry off at any space wherever I want. This is going to be a simple and easy tower that we are going to add over here. Again, you can see this is almost the middle part of the painting where it is placed, and I am going to change it towards the right side. Add some of the lines for the tower area. This time I have included a bit of the way I like to sketch my towers. You can see I even do some amount of gray shading into it so that I exactly know where I want to place my darker values and the lighter values. I say that this paper is really small for me to work around with. That's one of the reasons I am really not into the mindset of doing a very difficult painting in this one. Just some colors here and there, and that's it. We are done with the easiest painting of the lighthouse. You have seen this brush in my last painting series or painting video where I did explore this brush in more detail. It's my Raphael Soft Aqua brush and I'm using my Ultramarine right now to add this sky part. Of course, this is a good brush which can hold a lot of water. Along with it, it has got a very, very nice tip, which makes it even more, I would say, on the go kind of brush, and anyone can use it for their paintings. Adding some of the brown color for the tower and then some of the green parts for the bottom area of this tower. Though the sky has not dried off and I was in a bit of a hurry to complete this painting, you can see how much difficulty I would face to actually control my green, which will move a bit up towards the part of the sky. Yeah, if you are in a hurry, you can commit a bit of mistakes, and that's absolutely okay. See, take your time to commit your mistakes, take your time to learn, and have a great outcome finally. Going ahead and adding some more of our greens towards the bottom area of this particular tower and then blending it with the sky. The tower, of course, is in the lightest value of brown. We will add a bit of our darker values towards the absolute left corner. You can also go ahead and add some more of the darker values here and there, though it really doesn't matter much at this stage. Just any value and any color can work. When you add brown into the green, you may get a bit more earthy and darkest value getting added to your ground area. And that's absolutely okay as we want that kind of an outcome. You can even see my sky is still wet and I'm working on the tower because of which the colors are moving. These kind of things do happen as I always see. If you are in a hurry, you're going to you are going to actually mess up a bit, but mess is always good. And I take it very openly with my whole open heart that yes, I've made a mess and I'm happy with that mess. Finally, we are done with the second painting. I would allow it to dry and go to the first painting, which all of you might be waiting for. So, what happens through the process of the first painting is it is way more longer compared to all the two paintings that you have done, as it is done on an A5 size paper. We are going ahead with a mix of our phthalo blue and ultramarine for the sky area. For all these paintings, the sketching can be done directly from the photograph as you are observing it over here. I'm going ahead and still adding colors to my sky. I am not going inside this particular lighthouse. I will keep it as is. I usually like to add the dark and shadows of the parts that are there inside the rocks earlier itself, and I shade those areas with my graphite marks. Once that part is done, I will start with my water area as I'm going to touch the rocks at the last. This is what I was saying. There is no particular way of going about and working through your watercolors. Many people start from the top and go to the bottom. Some start from the bottom, go to the top. There are different ways of going about it, and whatever suits you the most, you should go with that and work it out as your painting. Adding some brown while I go towards the bottom area of this rocky terrain. Or you can also go ahead with yellow ochre or burnt umber, whatever color is there. Now is the time where we are going to touch our rocks with the help of the yellow as well as burnt sienna. Most of the areas will be in lighter values and some of the areas will be in darker values. I'm not going to touch the complete area in brown as I'm going to also paint a lot of our greens, and this is a tree that is closest to my eyesight. One of the reasons I have to make it in the darkest value compared to what I had for my background. I did allow my paper to dry off before I go ahead with the other parts of my lighthouse. The lighthouse is very light in value, as you can see, and hence I would go ahead with my darkest value at the end. Right now, we can go with our yellow ochre or any kind of that color for adding the values over here, and then make it more lighter or darker as we progress. This is just the first layer which we are adding. I usually like to work only around 3 to 4 layers for any of my painting. I do not go ahead with a lot of layers. Usually 2 layer is what I try to work around with for my cloudscapes or for any kind of landscapes. If it is buildings or portraits, then of course the layering is more, or in case even if it is florals, then I go ahead with 3 layers. Layering is important, but how much and till what detail you want to do is something that depends upon you. You can go ahead with even 4 to 5 layers as the middle tone, or even the values which you create, the lighter value, the darker value, the mid tones, everything can be divided into many different values, and that is where you get the whole of the difference in your painting. Adding some of my greens, this is the lightest value of green that I'm going ahead with and adding it towards the top. Then again, I am adding some clear water for my areas of the greens. Yeah, this is some amount of brown I'm adding to my green and then applying it. I love to do wet on wet most of the time. It's not that I don't go wet on dry. We also go wet on dry, but wet on wet is what I have always loved, and I like to go ahead with that kind of a painting in most of my watercolor approach. We will now go ahead with our darkest value of green and apply it in few of the spaces on top of the lighter value of greens, which is already existing over there. Add some amount of dots here and there, and once these dots are done, we are going to add a few more dots towards the bottom. The bottom part would be a bit more darker compared to the top area, leaving out 1 or 2 dots here and there. And then once this part is done, we will go ahead with some of the bottom area greens. Again, I'm going with my darkest value for this area. This is pretty quick. As you can see, it is a 2x speed video, and I'm going with my 2x speed painting only. Of course, you can go ahead and adjust the speed. I would be more than happy to see all your paintings over here. And in a stepwise approach, I have done it with voiceovers so that you guys can follow along with me and paint along with me. In case you are following me and here for a good amount of time, you know that I go by the name watercolor.illustration.letter on Instagram. You can tag me there and I would share all your paintings on my Instagram stories. Going ahead and adding some more of our lines here and there. Once these lines are done, you can see that some of the areas have dried up completely and some of the areas are still a bit wet, because of which the colors are moving to a great amount, and that's absolutely fine. Let it move. We will continue to work with the other parts of the painting. I always wash my brush at regular intervals and then just blend the colors to whatever extent it is important. I did have a landscape view initially, and now we have shifted to more of a detailed view over here. This is a bigger painting compared to what we have done in the last one, and that's one of the reasons those two paintings were pretty quick to do, whereas this takes the most amount of time through the whole of this painting series. I will go ahead and add some more details of my rocks. You can see that some of the rocky areas are more detailed and darker in value compared to the one that I did paint earlier. This is one of my favorite paintings from the whole of the three lighthouse paintings of the real photos. This is kind of a series, only you can say, where you are painting from real photos. Some of it I want to actually build it into bigger paintings, and hopefully I can do it very soon. Once I do it, I will share it back with each one of you who wants to paint on larger piece of paper and how we can do it on larger paper. I do have an A4 size sketchbook too, and we will be using it for our smaller or bigger paintings in future. I have a variety of sketchbooks that I keep for myself. Now, the reason for keeping all these sketchbooks is earlier I used to paint all on loose sheet of paper. Having said that, I cannot give away or I cannot take out the system of painting on loose paper. But what happens is that if we keep painting on loose paper, there is a chance that they would be flying around or we will be losing it all out. Sometimes we don't like it, we just tear it off. So all those tendencies go away with this piece of sketchbook that I keep for myself. It is a safe ground. If I like it, I do paint over it. If I don't like it, then also I paint over it. It is something that I always go ahead and love to do. I have sketchbooks for my gouache paintings, I have sketchbooks for watercolor paintings. Anything that I do, I do keep these sketchbooks very handy for myself. Sketchbooks are a great reminder also that the progress which you are making is worthy. Earlier, when you are painting or you have just started out on your journey, the sketchbook pages might look very difficult to fill up. But as we progress, I just feel that I have so much less space to write on it rather than just go ahead and paint. Painting is sort of very calming, and it helps me to even really de-stress myself. There are times where I don't record videos, I just paint for myself, and there are times where I do record videos and paint for all of you who want to explore this beautiful medium of watercolors. I really want you guys to explore this medium. It's not only a beautiful medium that you can explore, but it's also something that has empowered and helped me to work as a artist. all on my own. I can pay my bills. I can really go ahead and even explore nature, paint anything that I see, which I don't think that all of us have the possibility of doing. And that is what I want you guys to also explore. If it is a hobby, good. If you want to even take it up full time, that's also an amazing experience. You just need to explore a medium in depth and have some knowledge about it to really have a good and final outcome, or have paintings which you want to show the world. Though I am a strong believer that whatever you paint, you should be showing it to the world. Nonetheless, whatever we paint, it takes a lot of courage to come out and paint and show it to the world. It's not the first day that you are showing something. There will be many days where you will go ahead and show the world that you have really done something of your liking, and now you have come out in the open and showing it to the world on social media. This is a wholesome courage thing, and you have done it. None of the other people can do it. So it's okay to always go ahead, explore, and continue to build on your skill set. Everyone of us cannot do it. Believe me, I still struggle so much with gouache. I have read so many books. I explore so much of how people paint with gouache. Still having a style of my own is a lot of difficulty for me, and I continue to explore this medium, yet I am more comfortable with watercolors. So every medium that you try initially will give you a lot more difficulty, but as you continue to work more in detail and understand that medium, it is going to actually help you, and it would accept you with full arms. At like, it is going to make your world go twists and turns, etc. You're going to be on a roller coaster ride, believe me or not. I have been there with watercolors, and I'm right now even exploring my gouache with that. Both of these mediums are excellent, and when you start working on it, you get to realize how beautifully you have actually developed a skill set which we would have never thought can be ours. Going ahead and adding more details, you have seen that I did go ahead with my second layer now for the top part of this greener side. The background, of course, I already had a bit of green over there, and that's absolutely okay. Now adding some of the thinnest or the thinner lines that we want to add to our tree. Of course, I have not added much of colors in and around the tree while I was going towards the bottom area, and now finishing it off with some of my darkest value of green. This darkest value, I'm just loving it completely, and then adding some on the top to just finish it off. Quite a long one, you must say, and I'm so happy that all of you did stick around me and listen to me, understood what I'm trying to do over here, and have a final outcome which is to our liking. Do try out these videos, as I always say. In any of your new paintings you want to do, please go ahead and work around with it. Let me know how it is, how this medium is rewarding for you. That's something which I really, really want to know. Final touches to my lighthouse, and mostly the ultramarine color. You know that I'm in love with ultramarine, and I use ultramarine for many of my paintings to show the darkest value. Though you can go ahead and add lot more colors for the darkest or the lightest value, which we will be exploring in light and shadow effect of many of our paintings later on. We are here for a long period of time, and we will continue to explore more subjects as we progress with this medium. I use a bit of a black pen here and there to give my final touches, even some amount of white pen and colors here and there. If need be, that's how I go about it. Just make sure that your paper is completely dry before you go ahead and do these kind of touches to your painting. Guys, as we continue to work on this, I would ask you all to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it yet. There is so much that I bring every week. Let's explore it together. Let's explore this medium. Let's make new urban sketching or paintings or anything that you like to let me know in the comments. And I would be more than happy to take it up as a next video. One of the reasons for using a 185 GSM paper is it just does dry off very quickly compared to all the other papers that I have used till date. And hence, you can see that the final painting has turned out exactly the way we would like to have, or even when you are working in plain air kind of a possibility or structure, you can easily get it done. Adding some of the darkest value and then it's done. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out, though I would have liked the middle part to be a bit more lighter, but that's okay. Whatever is done is done. We can always work it out in another painting or a big painting of your choice, of your liking. We don't need to always execute it in whatever we have or have in our hand right away. I always say this, you have always the opportunity to work on another new piece of paper and explore the way you want to explore for the same painting. Why not? I mean, there is a photograph which we are converting. We can always work on another painting of this exact photograph. I like to explore one of the photographs every year. I like to paint that photograph every year and see how much I've progressed with my style, and is there a similarity in my style for last year and this year, or how much that style has evolved. All of this you should always check and understand. Remove the tape at an angle and have a final look at this whole page. I'm pretty sure about it. You have already fallen in love with lighthouses. Meet you again next time.